What is up, guys? Sent here, back at it again with another video. It's Thanksgiving. At least it is when I'm filming this. I'm probably going to edit it on Black Friday. But I'm just thankful for everything in life. And let's get to the video. I'm loving everything today. Alright, let's get to it. So first off, we're going to go with Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte, if we were going into last season, he was S, but he didn't have the best season, so I'm going to drop him down to A, but he's still a very good player. Same thing with Ozzy Albies. Probably would have been S, but he's gotten hurt a lot, so I'm going to throw him in A. Rougned Odor. Yeah, he didn't have the best season. I'm going to probably put Rougned Odor in D tier. Possibility of him moving up, but Rougned Odor, I think, is going to stay in that B tier, likely. Alright, next, we got Trevor Story. Trevor Story, before this season, 100% would have been S, but he didn't look the best this year. But I'm going to put him in A. He's not a bad player by any means. Next up, we got Nick Madrigal. Nick Madrigal is pretty good. Former Chicago White Sox. This year, he got hurt a lot. That's another problem. Hard to rank guys who get hurt a lot. Before this season, he was probably B, but now he's C. Next, Jonathan India. Jonathan India is a perfect in-between of, I would say, Nick Madrigal and Ketel Marte. He's not a bad player. He's a great player, to be exact. I think he'll end up having a good MLB career, so I'm going to put him there. Although his season this year wasn't great, but he battled injuries, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Next up, Andres Gimenez, S. Incredible season he had. And you can't deny how good his season was. He had an incredible season. Nobody thought he was going to have that incredible of a season. Alright, next up, we got Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers actually quietly had a pretty good season this year. He ended up having a 4.3 WAR, which is actually pretty good. 4.3 B WAR. And next, we have Larry Garcia. Larry Garcia, he had a very bad season, so I'm going to throw him in D tier, although he can move back up. I don't know if he will, but next up, we got Jonathan Schoop. Jonathan Schoop, he also had a pretty bad season, but he's had good seasons in the past, so I'm going to throw him in C tier, just like I did with Nick Madrigal. Jose Altuve, no questions, probably the best second baseman in baseball. He's going right to S tier. Next up, we got Nicky Lopez. Nicky Lopez. I'm gonna put Nicky Lopez in C tier just because his 2021 was actually pretty good. And he wasn't that bad in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And this year, he was not great. So I'm gonna throw him in C tier, but he can get back up. Next up, David Fletcher. Didn't have a great season this year, but he's had good seasons in the past. So I'm going to throw him in C tier. Also, his fielding's amazing. No denying that. Gavin Lux is next. Wait, Gavin Lux is their second baseman? I thought Max Muncy was. Or is Max Muncy the... If Max Muncy was on here, I'd put Max Muncy B tier because he was probably us going into the season. Had an extremely bad season, though. But Gavin Lux quietly had a pretty solid season. I'm going to also throw him in B tier. Jazz Chisholm is next. Jazz Chisholm, before he got hurt, he was looking amazing. I'm going to throw him in A tier. Next up, we got Colton Wong. Colton Wong, right now, he's a free agent. Nobody knows where he's going to go. I think maybe Seattle's a possibility. He had a pretty solid season, though, so I'll throw him in B. Next up, we got Jorge Polanco. Jorge Polanco, he's had some great years in the past, but he's also been popped for roids before. Didn't have a great season this year, but he's done well in the past, so I'm going to throw him in B. And I'll throw him in C. He wasn't great this year. Next up, Jeff McNeil. Came right back where he started in 2020. 2021 wasn't great, but he had an incredible 2022 and took home the NL batting title. Next up, we have Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres is one that is hard to rank. There's no denying that Gleyber Torres is a good player. But the real problem is how good. Personally, I'm gonna put him in. I'm gonna put him in B tier. His fielding isn't great, to be honest. I mean, some statistics will tell you he's a good fielder, like DRS, but some statistics like OAA say he's the worst fielder to ever exist. Yeah, it's hard to figure out a guy's defense besides eye check. And the eye check on him just makes me think, okay, this is pretty bad. Next up, we got Tony Kemp. I'm going to throw Tony Kemp in C tier. He didn't have a great season this year. Next up, we got Gene Segura. Gene Segura's had some pretty good years in his career before. And this one, he got hurt, but he was solid, so I'm going to throw him in B tier. Next up, we got... I actually don't know who the player is on that screen, but their real second baseman from last year was Kevin Newman, but he's not going to be the second baseman for this year. So I'm going to rank it as Kevin Newman. I'm going to put Kevin Newman in C tier. Yeah, if somebody in the comments knows who that is, hit me up and tell me who that is in the comments. Just say in the comments, "Sent, you're an idiot. That is ... Alright, Jake Cronenworth is next. Jake Cronenworth, he had a pretty good season. Ended up being great down the line when they made their playoff run. I'm going to throw him in B tier. He had a pretty good season. Alright, next up, we got Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier is going to go in C tier. He had a bad season, sadly, and yeah, he kind of belongs with the dudes in this group, sadly. Next up, we got Thairo Estrada. I think it's Thairo. I could be wrong. It could be Thairo. Thairo Estrada had a pretty good season. I'm going to throw him in C. All right, next up, we got Nolan Gorman. Nolan Gorman, big prospect. He got up a little bit this year, but I'm also going to throw him in C tier. He didn't have a great season, but he wasn't terrible. He doesn't belong down here with these guys. All right, next up, Brandon Lau. Same thing with Ketel Marte. They were on about the same trajectory as both each other. Had a great season last year and then didn't have a great season this year. Next up, Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien, he's going in S or A. The real problem is which one. I'm going to throw him in S just because I think he's the third best guy here. Some people might disagree with that, but I'm going to put Marcus Semien in S. Yeah, his beginning to this season wasn't great, but his end of this season was amazing, and then his MVP season was also amazing. Or MVP finalist season was amazing. Alright, next up, Santiago Espinal. I'm pretty sure he ended up making the All-Star game. Dude was pretty good, not gonna lie. He had a pretty solid season. His end of the season wasn't as good as his beginning. But I'm gonna throw Santiago Espinal in B. And next up, we got Cesar Hernandez. Cesar Hernandez is a free agent this year. And nobody really knows where he's going to end up going. Some people are saying that he's going to be a Nippon Ham fighter. I don't think he's that bad of a player. I think he belongs in C. And I feel like whoever gets him is going to have a solid second baseman on their hands, but they're not going to have an amazing second baseman on their hands. But that's pretty much going to do it for the video. See y'all in the next one. See ya and goodbye.